Greetings, welcome to Of Darkness and Light. This is Daphne Garrido. I want to speak this morning in a most condensed way possible to express something that is very true, a frustration of mine as a schizophrenic woman who is existing in a society, and especially systems of Western psychology that completely ignore the fact they do not understand schizophrenia. They don't really understand what it comes from. And the way that they treat schizophrenia is to push schizophrenics into stigma boxes, to allow the world to think that means that they're like psychos beyond redemption who need to be put on pills and potentially electroconvulsive therapied, and they need to be put into homes, and they need to be dealing with professionals specifically, and no other humans. It's genocide. And it's a genocide that's been happening for eras and eras, because Western civilization doesn't accept or have any place for living shaman. And that's what schizophrenics can be if they are not traumatized into a pitted spiral that sends them out of civilization entirely, because there is no place for body wisdom. There is no place for spiritual wisdom. This is a land of medication. And I'm telling you right here, right now, schizophrenics are not treated properly. They're not understood properly. And the social working class has ego about what they've been taught in school, even though what they've been taught in school is, we don't really know, but we're still going to pathologize. We're still going to make some kind of hardened science out of what we don't know, just based off what we've been doing for decades and decades and decades and a century to schizophrenic people, which is to put them into a genocide spiral that people don't even acknowledge is a projection of the fact that schizophrenics need to live the way humans are meant to live, or their body rejects their consciousness and their subconsciousness fights their consciousness. I am a schizophrenic who has brought myself into healing resolution with my body, and you know what I don't respect? Money. I don't play money. I'm a great creative person. That is what my schizophrenic result is that I'm using my schizophrenia to make the art I've always wanted to make. But my art is not commercial. My art is art. It is pure art. And that means that it has no place getting recognized as it is, especially as I present it, because I do not present it as a product, although it could very well be a product. And so I have been looking for a single human whose brain still functions within the Western world and capitalism to recognize my art's worth and to help me find a place in this society, despite the fact I cannot care about money, and my brain literally prevents me from filling out forms without mental anguish that is pain. There is a suffering that happens when I try and make planning phone calls, when I try and set up appointments, when I speak to people who chastise me with lectures on the help I should be getting, rather than telling them that I'm already a healed schizophrenic who just has executive dysfunction left from the fact they're being genocided from society, and the fact their family has completely ignored the responsibility they have to a disabled woman to help them survive, even though they don't play along with the games of capitalism. And my family's just like, adults get jobs, dude. Go get a job. Go get help. You need to play along in this society that we have built, that everyone acknowledges is a rotten pile of shit from the inside out. But you know what? Schizophrenics are a problem. Get away from me. I'm uncomfortable with you. Your brain doesn't work the same as mine. I don't like it. I don't like how creative you are. I don't like how your mean things seem really true. I don't like it. Well, guess what? The mean stuff is true a lot of the time. And that's why it's so mean, is I say things to people that reflect what they don't want to know. And I say it from my guts, and I say it mean as hell. And it's an executive dysfunction response that I'm working on dulling. And that's the thing, is that's some of my art, is to create things that are horrendous so I can communicate more normally with your average person who is neurotypical in comparison to me. There are so many people that have some kind of egotism around neuroatypicality. Some of them aren't even truly on the spectrum. There are people who just claim autism, and it's like, dude, you're barely on the spectrum. I knew somebody who had clinical Asperger's, and they're way more autistic than people saying they're autistic nowadays. Autism nowadays is often like bad people who don't want to fix what's wrong with them, who are like, yeah, I'm just autistic, that's why I'm a piece of shit, dude. That's my clinical reasoning to be a piece of shit to everybody and just be a selfish whore. I'm autistic. Deal with it. If you can't respect who I am, respect my boundaries when I tell you to go away. I like my medicine, dude. And it's like, cool, it's cool. I don't want to take anybody's medicine away from them. I want to be able to live as a schizophrenic human being that understands that the medicines that they provide from experience don't do shit, dude. If you research it, the best you can say is some studies. There are studies, lots of studies. Like, that's the thing. I couldn't even get Grok to say it because Grok is programmed to not harm people by giving them the truth that the antipsychotics mask symptoms. They don't fix brain structure problems. Schizophrenia is not solved by antipsychotics. What happens is people take antipsychotics and the effects of schizophrenia are dulled enough that they're like, hey, I'm cured as long as I stay on these antipsychotics that make me sleep like a rock and eat all day and not really care about anything, and feel like I'm totally absent from life. But I've gotten kind of addicted and people want to let me stay here and it helps me run around in this busy civilization. But I'm going to tell you something. Those people are not as schizophrenic as me. I am highly schizophrenic and I am highly traumatized because I'm just a trans woman. And I am also a healer because I'm a meditation instructor and a yogi and an artist who understands art therapy. And so I'm scratching my nose. I don't think I understand art therapy because it's so incredibly powerful. We don't even know the value of it. And that's what I'm doing here. If you look back at anything I've created here, it's art therapy of a schizophrenic, being honest, showing people how to heal from the inside out, showing people that schizophrenia is not something to be scared of. Schizophrenic people can put themselves together and they can be functional members of society who contribute in ways that are beyond your average person. And your average person might be the kind of person who's like, oh wait, we have a culture that enforces imposter syndrome by turning people against each other who believe they have talent, dude. Talent is something called natural ability. When you are predisposed to being excellent at something, which everyone is at different things, that's talent, dude. And if I'm saying I'm talented, everyone projects insecurity. And they're like, ooh, this person's an asshole, dude. This is like a Bradley Cooper who knows he's good at something. That's bad. That's bad. You gotta be a little bitch like Timothy Chalamet and stand up on stage and be like, I'm not gonna admit that I think I'm the best. I'm going to walk my way in backwards, retarded, denying the truth of how I'm already the best actor in the world, which isn't true, but it's like, that's what artists do. They wanna be the best, right? And so it's like every artist who's at the top of their game thinks they might be the best, dude. And so he's being honest. He isn't lying. He's saying in his mind, he wants to be the best. But in his guts, he thinks he's the best. He thinks he's the best in the future. He thinks he's the best now. And he doesn't have the balls to say it. And everybody's like, oh my God. Oh my God. He said that in a way that wasn't triggering to my insecurity. Oh, that's amazing. Maybe I can try and be the best at something too. Maybe I can get down to the very base where I already think I am the best at certain things and then project that at people who are good at stuff because I don't do what I'm supposed to do. So, hey, you know what? These schizophrenics that literally, to survive, need to live in rightness with their human body, let's genocide them because I want that stuff. That stuff they need to live without having to run around and do work, I need that. And so, fuck them, dude. They're making it up. that's not schizophrenia. They need to go get on pills and go away if they're going to be loud and angry and say stuff that's cutting and true. And yeah, you can't be honest, dude. Are you saying the truth? Are you speaking the truth, dude? You got to be quiet, dude. We shut up around here and we just talk about what we're told to talk about. We're not allowed to think about that. My textbook from psychology, which is literally a artful science that exists within a container, where when you start going to school for psychology, one of the first things they teach you is, hey, everything in this container is a theory. We can't prove anything because we're just working blind within data we started creating from the inside out. It doesn't really have any reflection point of context. So we don't really know if we're right about anything. And that should be owned, dude. When you know that. Everyone knows that. You go to your psychologist, you go to your psychiatrist, unless you're a total dunce, you take it and you leave it. But how do you take it and leave it? Do you take what's convenient? Do you leave what's important? Or do you take what's important and leave what's convenient? Boundary holding that psychologists teach is bullshit. It's anti-community, it's anti-human. It is about surviving in this rotten capitalistic world that rapes people into being whores. And then they're like, feel good about being a whore, take your pills, stay alone. If somebody really needs a hug, fuck them. They're a love addict who's sick, who needs to go away. And if they're schizophrenic, guess what? They need help, dude. They need help. Who cares what they say? Who cares what their woman's heart is demanding they get from the world because they know exactly what they need? How dare them say that they have understood schizophrenia? Our books told us. I paid for school. Did you go to school? You didn't go to school. I'm a social worker. All of my friends tell me that you need real help and you're just saying I need a hug and I'll be better. But I'm looking at all of this pathologized stuff and it's taking everything you're doing as a schizophrenic and it is calling it addiction to love, addiction to substances. This person, these are not symptoms of a disabled person who's been ruined by an emotionless society, who's just a big-hearted woman who's sad. No, these are psychoses that need to be addressed as the root problem. The root problem is the surface level addictions and the need for love. Because love cannot be an addiction, because we need love and we live in a loveless fucking world. And so to call people love addicts who need it, it's horseshit. There's no love addict who doesn't get love and feel better. Love addicts are people without love for long periods of time that we then say, hey dude, you need to isolate yourself. You cannot be talking to people with your big open heart. You better get on pills. You better understand our ideology, which is a loveless world of consumerism, where you listen to the books that tell you who you're supposed to genocide. And that's trans women, that's disabled people, that's Native Americans, that's little folks, that's trans women. But all of that's down here, and then they're like, we need to pay attention to this class because we're letting them in. And there's still racist people that want them. So let's focus on them because we can't deal with these because there's no way we can get the Republican people to accept trans women. So sacrificed. Maybe later generations will let trans women in. But right now they can just live alone. If they have compounding issues where it's like, hey, they're also disabled now, mega genocide. Fuck them, dude. If they have become like a literal shamanistic body angel who speaks truth way beyond the paradigms of our world and our big pharma owned education systems, double fuck them. They must be really wrong. Let's all ask each other what we should do instead of listening to the person and then make clinical decisions beyond them, ignoring the fact that they have had their own psychiatrists, therapists, they've had psychological help and they know exactly what's going on with them and they did psychology how you're supposed to. You take the challenge of them telling you what they think it is. And you're like, okay, cool, I appreciate that. I'm gonna go do art because I can feel that there's different nuance that you're not telling me. And guess what? Schizophrenic nuance is everything, because there's nothing about psychology that gets it right. They're just shocking people to death, numbing them down, and putting them away. And guess what? We're body geniuses when we heal, because we have to be, because everybody can be, but schizophrenics have to live right. We have to live like human beings are supposed to, which is outside of paradigms of capitalism. I'm sorry that that exists. I'm sorry that we're all masters to capitalism, but let's not kill the most vulnerable people and genocide them because they can live in a bubble amongst capitalism and show the example of what we should be moving towards, period. Moving towards. It doesn't have to end everything. It doesn't have to apocalypse the world. We don't want anarchism. What we want is an example for the future called healed schizophrenic people showing what it's like to live outside of bullshit. But guess what? This world doesn't play that. It doesn't play that. Go live in a home. Who cares that you could be a great mom? Who cares that you are a best mom? Who cares that you're fine living alone if you're taken care of? You don't have family. You don't have privilege. Get homeless, dude. Get detransitioned. We don't care, dude. We don't care. You're saying stuff that's different than what's in my books. Books are all right, dude. Books are all right, especially in fucking Texas. Idiots.